Hello students, welcome to Social Science 10th Standard Chapter number 1 Heritage of India. This is the second video on this chapter. To make you remind about what we have discussed in the first video, we have discussed the word heritage. I hope you are able to remember the word heritage. Heritage is nothing but the richness of past, whatever we have received from our forefathers. Yes, the richness of past is called as heritage. Then we have started with the introduction of the chapter. Then we have discussed about India's location and area. Now, if we talk about location of India, we all know it lies between 84° north and 37.6° north latitude and 68.7° east to 97.25° east longitude. Coming to the area of India, it is 3.28 million square kilometer, and we can say India, as far as area is concerned, is the seventh largest nation in the world. Now, talking from population point of view, India is the second largest country after China. Then after, we have discussed the meaning of culture. In short, if you want to say what is culture, then we can say that culture is nothing but a sum total of habits, values, customs, traditions, ideals which leads to human life to the highest level. Then we have discussed about the rich and varied heritage and heritage of India. If we talk about heritage of India, there are two types of heritage. One is a natural heritage and the other one is a cultural, or we even call it as a man-made heritage. So talking about natural heritage, what we mean by natural heritage? So natural heritage consists of all those natural elements, yes, which we have received are part of natural heritage. Here we can see under natural heritage we have discussed about landscapes, rivers. Then after we have discussed in natural heritage about vegetation, wildlife. Later on we have started with the man-made or cultural heritage of India. Now cultural heritage includes number of things such as palaces, buildings, sculptures, stupas, viharas, chaityas, temples, mosques, tomb, fort, gates. Not only that, it even talks about the language, script, even discovery of zero, mathematics, calendar, astronomy, iron, literature, religion, youth sastra, chariot, political science, zoology, botany, vastu sastra, and many more things. So these were all part of our cultural heritage of India. So these were the things which we have discussed in the first video. Now student, let us start with a new topic called cultural heritage of Gujarat. Now in this topic, we are going to just list out the cultural places or the cultural heritage of Gujarat. Few places we are going to list out, right? They all are part of the cultural heritage of Gujarat. So this particular topic is mainly focusing on Gujarat. Earlier what we have learned, that was about India, right? Now here specifically we will be talking about Gujarat. The places having cultural, legendary and architectural archaeological importance are Lothal, that is in Dholka Taluka, Rangpur, that is in Limdi Taluka in Surendranagar district, Dhulavera in Kutch, Rosary or Srinathgarh in Rajkot district. The places of pilgrimage we can include in it, even the Victory Tower of Vadnagar, stone inscription of King Ashoka at Junagadh, Sun Temple of Modera, Gate of Chapaner, Rudra Mahalaya of Shitpur, Mansar Lake of Viramgam, Jama Masjid of Ahmedabad, Julta Minara, that is Shaking Tower in Ahmedabad again, Siddhi Sayadni Jali, that is Grill, that is even in Ahmedabad, Temple of Hati Singh, Sahasraring Lake of Patan, Raj Mahal of Vadodara, Tomb of Mohabbat Khan, Parsi Agyari of Navsari. These are worth seeing places, they say. They are all are part of our cultural heritage of Gujarat. Now talking about some places of religious importance. yes, where we can say religion is attached, like Dwarkadish temple of Dwarka, Sardapit of Jagat Guru Sankaracharya, Somnath temple, one of the 12 Jyotirlinga. We have 12 Jyotirling of Lord Shiva. Out of that, Somnath is one of them. Ambaji in North Gujarat. You must have visited at least Ambaji in North Gujarat, everyone. Bauchraji temple in Mehsana district. Ranchhodrai temple at Dakor. It is also a very famous temple in Kheda district. Shamlaji, that is Aravalli district. These are also, we can say, the part of cultural heritage of Gujarat, which has some religious importance. Well-known religious, social and tourism oriented places in Gujarat are Polo Forest, very popular one. Even you might have visited Polo Forest during your school picnic. Vijayanagar, that is Sabarkantha district, Kite Festival, Kakaria Carnival in Ahmedabad, which takes place, Tanariri Festival in Vadnagar, Northern Dance Festival in Modera, Ranotsav in Kutch. They all are part of our cultural heritage. Not only this, we have some tourist places of Jain and Buddhist. Jain and Buddhist religion, they prevail in India since ancient time. Therefore, Jain and Buddhist caves are also very popular in Gujarat. Vadnagar, they are found in Vadnagar, Taranga, Khambhalia, Shamlaji, Koteshwar, Talaja, Dhank, Jagadia, etc. So, in short, here they have listed different places, different areas which has a cultural importance specifically of Gujarat. So students, you can always expect a short note on cultural heritage of Gujarat. Now coming to the next topic, we have fairs and festivals. Right, I hope you are aware of the word fair. Yes, in Gujarati we call it as Mero. So these fairs of Gujarat, varied culture of Gujarat is seen in many places. Hence, fairs have traditional, religious and social importance. Fairs have religious, traditional and social importance. From the way back such fairs are organized in India, in Gujarat, it has religious and social importance too. So here they have listed some names of 15 fairs, where they are held and at what time. So this is a small chart given to you. Yes, name of the fairs, the places of fair where they are held, and the time at which these fairs are held. So we have Modhera fair in Modhera, Bauchraji fair in Bauchraji, Shamlaji Thakurji fair in Shamlaji, Bhadravi Purnam fair in Ambaji, Bhavnath Mahadev fair in Girnar, Tarnetar fair in Tarnetar, Bhadia fair in Bhadia, Naklang fair in Koliak, Madhavpur fair in Madhavpur, Vautha fair in Dholka, Miradatar fair in Unnava, Dang's Darbar fair in Ahava, Gol Gaheda fair in Garhada, Kartik Purnima fair in Somnath, and Banguria fair in Kwad. So these are 15 fairs held at different time zone or held in different time period in Gujarat. Yes, which shows some traditional, religious and social importance in Gujarat. This is just for your knowledge, students. Yes, hardly a question is asked out of it. You cannot ignore, but hardly a question out of asked out of it, where this particular fair is held or at what time. So such type of question can be picked up from this particular area. Now moving to the next, which is very important topic, India, land and people. We know in India is a place where number of people they came and settled. Yes, way back if we talk about the ancient group of people, right? After the primitive man, number of people they entered into India, they settled in India. Yes, we consider the Dravidians group of people to be the most ancient group of people who came in India and settled in India. But let us see what the reality is. Primitive men came into existence simultaneously in India and eastern South Africa. Mesmerized by various and prosperous heritage, many foreign tribes came to India. I told you earlier, India basically was a very rich and prosperous nation. Looking to that, many foreigners, many people, they entered into India. Consequently, the remains of all the tribes are found in India. All these group of people, their remains are found in India, whomsoever have turned into India. Dravidians, these are certain group of people or particular group of people are considered to be the most ancient people of India. But the modern researchers of linguistic and anthropology, linguistic is something related to language, and anthropology means we can say science of human beings, science of human behavior. Yes, the researchers have gone through all this and they have proved that even the Dravidians, six more tribes have came and settled in India. Normally we believe that Dravidians were the oldest group of people who came and settled. But after these researchers, their research and investigation, we came to know that more six tribes must have entered before the Dravidians. So let us discuss about each of them, and out of that first we are going to discuss about Negritoid. अब Negritoid कहो, Hapsi कहो, Jingalala Huhu type of people, right, is one and the same. I think we must have heard about Jingalala Huhu. Yes, so some historians believed that Negrate, yeah, Negroes are the most ancient inhabitants of India. Historians ऐसा मानते हैं कि ये लोग सबसे ancient, सबसे पुराने हैं. They came from Africa via Baluchistan to India. This is how they must have entered. And we have a very, short characteristics in front of us of this group of people. They say that they have black color. Yes, they are blackish basically, and height of around 4 to 5 feet and having curly hair. This is what their appearance look like. I repeat, black color, having height of 4 to 5 feet and having curly hair. So this is a very short description of Negritoid or Hapsi or Chingalala Huhu type of people. Anyway, students, coming to the other group, the next one is Australoid. They are even called as Nishad group of people. Australoid are also called as Nishad. Now this word Nishad, this name Nishad was given them by the Aryans. The Aryans group, we are going to learn later on the Aryans group of people, and these Aryans, they gave a name called Nishad to these Australoid people. People of this tribe, they came from Southeast Asia. And what is their physical characteristics? They are black in skin with broad nose, with broad head, flat nose, short in height. So this is their physical description. And as said, Aryans who came later on, they in India they called this group of people as Nishad. The origins of tribes like Kol, Munda, Khasi, tribes of Assam, the tribes of Nicobar and Myanmar have similarities to the Australoids. Now this what is Kol, Munda, Khasi? They are tribes, tribal people. You must have heard about tribal people. Jingalala Huhu type of people we can say. Yes, they have their own group, they have their own customs, right? They are given the name as Kol tribes, Munda tribes, Khasi tribes. Yes, and these all Kol, Munda, Khasi or some of the tribes of Assam, they have similar characteristics what Australoid possess. जो ऑस्ट्रेलॉइड के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स थे वही कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स इनमें पाए गए. Their contribution in the development of Indian culture and civilization is immense. Immense means a lot. They have contributed a lot in developing Indian culture and civilization. Especially these people, they make clay utensils. Yes, I hope you are aware of clay utensils. Yes, when we were very small, we used to play with clay. गुजराती में कहिए तो माटी काम, right? Clay utensils, clay से utensils बनाते थे. Wore cotton cloth and knew many other skills. They had great religious belief too. They were very religious group of people. So that is again a small introduction, or we can say explanation, on Australoid group of people, even were called as Nishad by the Aryans. Next, we'll talk about the Dravidians. Dravidians basically, they originally belonged to India. They were the direct descendants of Stone Age civilizations and the creator of Mohenjo-daro. We all must have heard about this name, Mohenjo-daro culture. On this word, we had a film, Mohenjo-daro. Yes, wherein Hrithik Roshan played a very important role in that film. The tribes which came from north survived with their language and culture features. Later on, they were called as Dravidians. These people were called as Dravidian group of people. Excuse me. Sorry. Dravidians gave the concept of mother as a goddess and father as a god. They explained us, they intimated us to worship father as a god and mother as a goddess. So they thought Parvati and Shiva as mother and father developed. Moreover, the tradition of worshipping nature. These Dravidians are nature loving people. They worship nature like the sun, the moon, rivers, many more things. Tradition of worshipping with dhoop. Dhoop is nothing but incense stick. Agarbatti jane kahiye apne. Deep, that is lamp, divo. Aarti. Sorry, students. So these are certain things which they believe in and they consider it to be the gift of Dravidians. Today also we worship God or goddesses with dhoop, deep, aarti. All these things are done by us today also. Besides, nature and animal worshipping etc. are also done by them. As said, they were nature loving people. They worship nature. Original deities of Dravidians have been accepted by Aryans and were re-established by them as god of culture with pace of time. Under the tremendous influence of North, Aryan culture was deeply internalized by the Dravidians. Hence, intercaste marriages took place. Dravidians had a matriarchal system of family. Now, slowly, Aryans they merged. They came in India. There was intercaste marriages taking place. Yes, Aryan boy marrying a Dravidian girl or a Dravidian boy marrying a Aryan girl. So intercaste marriage took place. Next, this Dravidian group of people had a matriarchal system. What is matriarchal system? Matriarchal system is nothing but where mother is a head of family. We have another patriarchal system which we follow right now. Father as a head of family. Here these Dravidians, they had a matriarchal system. Means mother was the head of family. Dravidians progressed a lot. Different craft and arts like building of boats, raft, weaving, spinning, dyeing. Dyeing is nothing but coloring. So all these art were possessed by them. But these Aryans, they were very dominant group of people. So Dravidians could not make out of it. Aryans basically were war loving people and Dravidians basically were peace loving people. So Aryans they entered into India in the northern part of India and slowly the dominance of Aryans has increased. As a result, these Dravidians has to shift to the southern part of India. And today we see Dravidian family language like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam. These languages are derived from the Dravidian language, right? And they are all part of our South India. So now we can say once the Aryans have entered into North India, as they were war loving people and Dravidians were peace loving people, these Aryans they fought with Dravidians. Dravidians ultimately have to migrate from North India to South India. They settled in South India, developed their languages from their main language. Languages like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, these were certain languages which were ultimately derived from Dravidian languages. Next, talking about some other tribes, we have Mongoloid, Alpine, Dinaric, Armenoid. These were also tribes found in India. Talking about Mongoloid, yes, again let us see some specific characteristics of them. They came to India via North China, came to India from North China via Tibet and settled down at North Assam, Sikkim, Bhutan, West Bengal, etc. They gradually Indianized themselves. What is Indianizing? Means when they came to India, they came with their own culture, but slowly they have merged or they have mixed themselves with Indian culture. Mongoloid people possess the physical characteristics like yellow complexion. Yes, that means their skin tone was yellowish, flat face, chubby cheeks. What are chubby cheeks? Fluffy cheeks. Yes, almond shaped eyes, badam jaisi aankheं, etc. Having yellow complexion, Mongoloid were also known as a Kirat group of people. उनको एक दूसरा नाम दिया गया, that is Kirat. Then we know Alpine, Dinaric, Armenoid. These people also they have migrated from Central Asia. Now, if we talk about location of India in Asia, it is to the south of Asia, and these people they migrated from Central Asia. These tribes, this group of people are very similar. Yes, and we can say the origin or the genesis of these tribes are found large number in Gujarat, Saurashtra, Maharashtra, Bengal, Odisha. Yes, these are the group of people जहां पर इनके genes मिलते आ रहे हैं. Then talking about the Aryans, who, as I said, as I briefly introduced, yes, they are war-loving people. The Nordic Aryans were the creator of Aryan civilization. Hindus were called Aryans in the ancient time, and the area where they densely populated were called as Aryavarta. We must have heard this word in the beginning of the chapter. As seen, rivers were flowing over there. That region was named as Sapta Sindhu. Yes, the region we are talking about, yes, absolutely right, northwest part of India. Sapta Sindhu, the Sindhu River. In ancient time, the first Aryan population was concentrated in northwest. Concentrated means they were living in the northwestern part of India, these Aryan people. The area of Aryavarta, where the Aryans live, was extended up to Mithila, that is in Bihar in the east. So right from northwestern part of India to the eastern part of India, that is still Bihar. In south, it spread up to Vindhyachal, the Vindhyachal mountains during post-Vedic period. They were more advanced people than any contemporary tribes. Contemporary means present tribes. So they were very advanced people, very powerful people. This vast land was recognized with various names, as discussed earlier. Bharat Bhumi, Bharat Khand, Bharat Varsha. These were the names given to the country after the name of the king Arya Bharat or Bharatkul tribe. Aryans were nature lovers. They loved and worshipped trees, rivers, mountains, sun, wind, rain, and many other natural elements. They used to compose hymns, that is nothing but some poems for the gods and goddesses, for natural elements. Even in a very short period of time, they started religious ceremonies like recitation of Vedas. They started reciting Vedas. His reciting is nothing but memorizing it, performing yagya. Yes, nothing but we can say some in during some auspicious ceremonies we do yagya or other activities were prevalent in India during this period. This Aryan people have started it. There was a fine amalgamation of those tribes with their specific style of living, and harmonious culture was formed. Slowly we can say, as we discuss a unique Indian culture, वो कहाँ से frame हुआ? बस यहीं से हुआ कि where these all tribes they amalgamated, they mixed very well, which gave India a glorious and prosperous heritage. We discussed earlier, Indian heritage is a very glorious, prosperous, rich heritage. These foreigners and Indian tribes amalgamated in such a way over a long period of time that they lost their individual identity. इस तरह से ये foreigners इंडिया में आए और Indians के साथ merge हो गए, जैसे they were all Indians right from the beginning. Yes, they merged very well. Outsiders and local people were greatly influenced by the language of India, script, names, and religious belief. They played a very important role Indianizing these foreigners. ये foreigners को हमने Indians बना लिया. They were influenced by our religion. They were influenced by our language, by our script, by our names. कई ऐसे foreigners थे जिन्होंने अपने नाम बदल दिए, Indian names रख दिए, अपना religion बदल दिया, हमारा religion adopt कर लिया. So that was a kind of amalgamation, we can say. That was a kind of mixture. Since ancient time, a composite culture has been created. They all then become Indians. Ultimately, वो सब कौन बन गए? Indians बन गए. In short, in ancient India, amalgamation of various culture enriched Indian culture by making it variegated and prosperous. So ultimately, they framed an Indian culture, which is a very prosperous culture, a rich culture was formed. So that's it regarding this different group of people who came, entered into India, lived in India, and Indianized themselves. So students, from here you can always expect a short note for probably 2 or even for 3 marks. Right? Write a short note on Aryans, write a short note on Dravidians. Yes, likewise you can expect a short note. One small question for 2 or even 3 marks can be expected. Now coming to next topic, preservation and conservation of heritage. We have learned lot many things about heritage. Mainly we discuss about the meaning of heritage. After understanding all these things, don't you think heritage should be preserved and conserved? Yes, definitely. We have a rich and varied heritage, and it is our prime duty, responsibility that we need to preserve and conserve this heritage. Each aspect of Indian heritage made India eye-catching, picturesque, and attractive. Heritage brought glory to the nation. India attained a leading position in the world by keeping its rich heritage protected and preserved. I told you, whenever we talk about heritage, whenever we talk about culture, India ranks among the world. आज भी Indian heritage, Indian culture को इतना ही respect दिया जाता है. Thus, it is the primary and pious duty, godly duty of every citizen of India that we need to protect, preserve this heritage, make sure no harm is done to our heritage. It is a part of our fundamental duty. It is even mentioned in Article 51 by A in point number 6, 7, and 9. Right? What which all things are written? They have written to understand the importance of harmonious culture, prosperity, and preserve it. It is a part of our fundamental duty. Next, we need to maintain forests, tanks, rivers, ponds, wild animals, birds, along with maintaining the natural environment. And we have to show compassion. Compassion is nothing but love for all these living creatures. That is the second point mentioned. And the third one, the protection of public property and give up violence. We should not undertake violence. We have to give up violence are also included as a part of our fundamental duties. So thus, nature has created beautiful landscape. We should maintain the purity, the sanctity is nothing but the beauty of these places considering our moral responsibility or duty. The Indian heritage is an outcome of development of people of India over a long period of time. ये कोई एक दिन, दो दिन, साल, 2 साल, 5 साल में नहीं हुआ है. It has been a long period of time. Nature has donated us generously. Nature ने बहुत कुछ दिया है इंडिया को. India has to preserve it, conserve it. India achieved invaluable opportunities in all the fields for gradual development due to India's peculiar natural structure. In this way, the Indian heritage is a result of development of people of India, social, economical, political, and cultural fields over centuries. So in all these areas, development of people of India has taken place. बरसों से हमारा डेवलपमेंट होता आ रहा है, हो रहा है और आगे भी होगा. ये सारे एरियाज में इंडिया का डेवलपमेंट होगा. Is all because of what we are being gifted by nature. Yes, students. So that's it regarding this chapter. We are ending up with this chapter. I hope you all must have understood about what we have discussed in this chapter. Thank you, students. Thank you so much. Yes, I hope once again that you are able to understand what we have discussed in this chapter. Bye bye.